guys, welcome to Fantasy Nuts. My name's Luke Evans. This is my Monday night recap and Week 9 waiver wire pickups. If you like the content, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. Appreciate you watching. Let's talk. Kansas City comes away with a tight win against the Giants. That's still kind of disappointing. I think we all kind of thought that the Kansas City Chiefs would crush the New York Giants, but they didn't. It was a close game. It was way closer than it should have been. Mahomes just doesn't really look like himself. He's turning the ball over way more than he has in the past. So I hope this is just a little bit of a slump for him. Going over the stats, Daniel Jones had a better night, in my opinion, than Patrick Mahomes. He didn't throw for as many yards, but he had 2 touchdowns and an interception, and so did Mahomes. He had an interception also and a fumble. So, he's turning the ball over. John Ross, 2 receptions, 72 yards. It's good production on 2 receptions, but the guy was Devontae Booker, 5 receptions, 65 yards. He was the guy getting the ball through the air. It helped with his fantasy night for PPR reasons, obviously. Kadarius Toney got a little bit involved, but he left with a hand injury at some point in the game and came back. So maybe you would have had more, barring that not happen. Devontae Booker's rushing, 15 for 60. Again, nothing impressive, but it's 4 yards a carry, and that combined with the receiving helped him have a pretty decent fantasy day. Daniel Jones got involved, running a little bit, 5 for 12. Patrick Mahomes, 3 for 275, a touchdown and interception. We talked about the fumble also. It's a weak performance from Pat, and it's the last 3 out of 4 weeks he's had pretty weak performances, under 20 fantasy points. So hope this is just a little bit of a slump for him and that he can climb out of this hole and show us the Pat Mahomes that we remember. Tyreek Hill has 12 receptions for 94 yards. Listen, this is a good sign. It means that he doesn't have to get deep, or we don't have to rely on him to catch the big one to have a decent fantasy game. They can go out there and catch those short yards, 12 receptions, 7.8 yards per reception, and have a good fantasy day and get in the end zone. So he had over 20 fantasy points. I think this is a good thing to see through Patrick Mahomes' little slump. It means that he's still surviving through it. That's what we want to kind of hope for right now, is that he survives through this slump and that they get back to their normal stuff later in the year, closer to playoff time. Mecole Hardman, 5 for 63. He's definitely getting more and more involved each week, so keep an eye on that. Darrell Williams, 6 for 61. It's more of the game script of the way the defense played. I think Patrick Mahomes felt like he had to dump off a little more than he normally does. Like I said, they were kind of playing deep and keeping those receivers in check for the most part. The only thing they were really giving him was an open Darrell Williams right there to check down to. Travis Kelce, uninvolved, 4 for 27. Darrell Williams had 13 carries for 49 yards. Nothing to get excited about. But Derrick Gore maybe is somebody to get excited about, and we'll see what happens here when CEH comes back. But 11 for 48 and a touchdown, 4.4 yards per carry. He looked pretty decent out there. He was turning heads. So that's something to keep an eye on. All right, let's move on to our first waiver wire pickup. I got Tua Tagaviloa for quarterbacks. Listen, if you need a quarterback this week, Tua got a great matchup. Playing Houston. He's been playing pretty well, even against Buffalo. He only had 15 fantasy points, but it's like the best defense in the league, so he still had a decent, okay game for playing Buffalo. My next guy on the list is Boston Scott. God, he kind of threw up a big fantasy FU to everybody that picked up Kenneth Gainwell, including me. Dang, man, that is not what I expected to happen, but he's getting majority of the work. Howard even got in twice. Boston Scott got in twice. But it looks like it's the Boston Scott show in Philadelphia right now. So if I'm a Kenneth Gainwell owner, I'm trying to go back out, and I'm trying to get Boston Scott if I can. My next 2 guys on the list are Adrian Peterson and Jeremy McNicoles. Listen, Adrian Peterson is somebody I could put up there right ahead of Boston Scott maybe. he's going to be that guy that's going to be getting the majority of the carries. Maybe not this week because he's going to get acclimated to the offense. But I think weeks to come, he's going to be the main guy while Derrick Henry is out. Jeremy McNicoles will be more the passing down back, in my opinion. He definitely would get more use, so he's worth a pickup, especially in PPR leagues. So I'd go out there and I'd grab him if I can too. Derrick Gore, this is the guy I'd pick up and stash on my bench, again, to see what happens with CEH and Darrell Williams. Do they start using Derrick Gore more? Listen, he looked really good at the goal line, and he had a good, decent night running the ball. So we'll see what happens going forward. Russell Gage and Tajae Sharpe, listen, it's unfortunate. Calvin Ridley had to step away from the game for mental health reasons. I wish him well. I pray for his speedy recovery and that he comes back next year full, healthy, and awesome. In the meantime, we got to rely on these two guys. Obviously, if you're a Kyle Pitts owner, you're probably a little bit happy to see this news, but obviously we don't like to see anybody go out the game like that. Moving forward, Russell Gage is probably the guy I'd pick up first, Tajae Sharpe afterwards. These are good pickups to see what happens. I'd stash them on your bench and see what goes on with the receiving back. Rashod Bateman's the next guy on my list. I've been saying to pick him up for the past few weeks. He's getting the targets. He's looking all right. He's progressing. The first two games that he played, he progressed from the first game to the second game. I think he can even make a bigger jump to the third game. So you might even be able to go out there and spot start him if you need a wide receiver. But for the most part, I'd probably stash him on your bench, kind of see what goes on. My last guy here on the list is tight end Pat Freiermuth. The moof is Luth. Listen, this guy, while Ebron is out, Pat Freiermuth is really, really athletic. He's got great hands, nice strong hands. He's not like a Mike Gesicki type guy, but he can get in the middle of the field and make some big catches. He can do that in the end zone. You saw it this last week. He got in the end zone, had 14 fantasy points. I like the Muth. I think you can go out there and pick him up and even play him weeks to come. This week is not the greatest matchup, so I wouldn't play him this week. But I'd grab him and stick him on your bench, see what happens. All right, guys, that wraps it up. That's my waiver wire pickups and my recap of the Monday night game. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment below. I appreciate you tuning in. My name's Luke Evans, and stay fantasy nuts.